Welcome back, everybody. I hope you're doing well. My name is Andy with Boatworks today, and in this video, we're going to take a look at some different layout designs for this helm area and, well, try and solve some problems along the way. So let's get started. So one of the main issues that I have with this helm area is basically just the general layout. From here over to here, it's about maybe 4 feet wide. But what makes this really awkward in particular is this spot right here. And in particular, what I really don't like about this is that, let's just pretend the helm is back here in its position. But when you're sitting right here at the helm, you've got one foot up on this platform, and the other foot is just left dangling down here. So come time to get off the seat, it's kind of a big drop. It's about a little over a foot, from here down to this lower level. And I don't like that. That just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. What I think would be a lot more functional would be to extend this area here so that when you're sitting here, at least both feet are going to be at the same level across a level platform. It just seems like a lot safer option. Otherwise having this big drop here when it doesn't seem like a natural place for a drop, it just seems like some place that someone's going to take a spill or trip or whatever, get hurt basically. And directly related to that is this area right in here. Now, originally, I was not aware of this at first. Is this an awkward camera angle? I wasn't aware of this at first because honestly, I'm not 100% familiar with how the original Bertrams were laid out. But from what I've been able to gather, originally, this deck right here, this actually extended at this height all the way back to here and rested on this stringer, or the rib. Now, what the previous owner had done is they basically cut this floor right here, and then they extended this deck forward. Now, that part I like. I like that idea because it creates a big storage area down below that you didn't otherwise have. So to me, that makes a lot of sense. So here's what's going on. Now, this little lip all the way around here, when I first looked at it, I thought, well, okay, this is probably all just glassed in. It's that same G10 board. I'm not sure if it's in frame, but it's that little green panel right there. It's the same crap that I pulled out of the back of the transom in those corners. And, and there's nothing wrong with that. But they just took this G10 and they just bolted it, I think. No, actually, they didn't even bolt it. They did screw it into some bulkheads, along the sides, along the stringers. But then the way all of this was tied together was just by using 5200. There is no fiberglass tying this lip into here or anything. It's just all held together by, well, basically spit and bubble gum, screws and 5200. And that's kind of an issue right there for me. And the biggest issue for me is that, while this does create a nice storage area, it's kind of pointless because it's always going to be wet. There is no accommodations for scuppers, for deck drains, or anything in this area. So while this does create a nice area, as it's laid out right now, it's useless unless you want to, stick a cooler down there, which I suppose is an option, but it's too large of an area to just waste on putting a cooler, and it's going to be awkward to get to because this panel that goes over this, it's actually pretty heavy. So good use of space, poor design. So I want to basically tear all this out, redo it, re-engineer it so that it drains, it's watertight, and it ties into some of the modifications I want to make here. So running with the idea that I want to at least modify this area, right here at the helms on both the port and the starboard side, there's a couple different ways that I can approach this. The first one, which is what I somewhat touched on already, would be to just, extend this area through here, and then this area right here would be able to be utilized as additional storage space on both sides. I posed this question to folks over on Patreon, and it was a little bit divided, but the majority of responses that I got from everybody there was that they thought that it would be best to just extend this step basically all the way across and completely eliminate any kind of a fall or trip hazard altogether. Now, there's advantages and disadvantages to both of these different options on the layout. The first one, just kind of presuming that I don't run this platform all the way across. If I just kind of cut it in through here, one of the advantages is it does create additional space, which is always nice. So it'd give me two nice lockers, both on the port side as well as the starboard side. Now, somewhat of the downside is that it still doesn't take care of the large drop that I would have right here, coming down to this lower well. Now, this lower well, by the time these additions are added onto, this well would only be as wide as this companionway entrance. So you're talking, maybe 20, 22 inches, give or take. But it's still a pretty good sized drop. The other option, by extending this all the way across, is, well, one, it completely eliminates any kind of a fall or a trip hazard, which is nice. But the biggest disadvantage that I see with running this platform all the way across is that it greatly increases the height when someone's standing here. So, for example, as it stands right now, you gotta remember that the windshield is off. But the windshield, if I remember right, comes up to about right here, again, with me standing in this lower level. So at least right now, a person could theoretically stand here and still be able to be under the windshield and out of the elements and the wind. And this would be a good place to stand, be able to sit here and talk with the person driving the boat and what have you. Now, if this is raised up, this filled-in area would presumably be roughly this height. Well, now I'm going to be above the windshield. In order to, if there's any kind of canvas that would eventually be coming on here, in order for the person to stand here, unless they're short, it'd be fine for my little girls until they, got older. But for someone like me, to be able to have to sit here like this, hunched over, it's a bit annoying. I don't know that I would really enjoy that, and I don't know. That's kind of where I see the biggest downfall with extending this, but that's really about the only downfall. So I don't know. But right now, let me kind of do some mocking up. Just kind of make some quick templates here, just to kind of get a little bit more of a visual on how everything would actually look. So let's get started on that one. I gotta say, I really like this layout. It doesn't feel tight in here. There's still 22.5 inches inside this walkway. It doesn't feel tight, doesn't feel cramped, and it gives that extra added room right here for when you're sitting at the helm and just getting on and off. I mean, I really like it. I really like it. I will say, my first thought when I was kind of cutting these out, I was thinking, well, you know, these would be nice little cubbies. You know, that you could have a little lid that lifted up here, and you could set in, you know, kind of like those little day coolers. You know, those little igloo coolers, whatever. And then I went and measured them. I've got about 11 inches of height from the floor up to the bottom of this panel. And I measured, you know, one of the coolers that I've got here, again, one of those little day ones, and it's a little over 12 inches tall, so that wouldn't fit. So I was a little bummed about that, but then I thought, well, you know, these lockers, they're going to be sealed. They're not going to be open under the bottom here. So why couldn't I just insulate these on the interior and then have basically two built-in coolers? I can foam the crap out of these things, and they'll hold a block of ice for well over a weekend. I've built a number of coolers in the past, and they work really, really well. So I'm kind of leaning in that direction. I mean, I could still have an opening lid up on here. Rather than putting in a cooler, just dump in your ice, throw in your beer, your water, pop, whatever. Fill those in there. I mean, you could fit probably a case of water in one side and, well, maybe even close to 2 cases of water or beer or whatever on either side. So lots of room for drinks in lunch and that kind of stuff. And then they would be self-draining into this lower companionway area here that would then have scuppers to drain them off as the ice melts. So I don't know. I'm really, really liking this. And it still opens up the possibility for me to, you know, because these sides are going to be closed, I could put in some cleats along the side and the back and just have a third insert that would drop right in on top of here that would be flush with the sides. And then that way, if my girls wanted to stand up on top, just to be a little bit higher so that they could actually see through, you know, the windshield and, you know, just kind of have that experience, I think that'd work perfect. It would be removable. When you don't use it, you can just take it up. I'm sure I can find a little space somewhere inside of here that's out of the way to store it. And that's kind of the best of both worlds. It gives me a place where I can stand and I would still be under the windshield. And then when needed, I can drop that insert. Girls can get the height that they need, and done and done. I personally think this is a winner. Now, I would be very, very interested to hear what your thoughts are. Now, if you like this idea, let me know. If you hate the idea, again, let me know. This is not set in stone. This is right now just kind of a work in progress, just kind of brainstorming, because I still have some things to do, like for one, this area right in here. This has got to get ripped out and completely rebuilt and redone. But I need to have this somewhat of an idea, you know, kind of nailed down, because I want to incorporate this in with that. So instead of building 2 separate things, I'm just going to be building one and being able to just drop it right in. So let me know your thoughts. And then while you're at it, I would also love to hear your thoughts on what I should do with this door. There's a little channel along the bottom of the floor that's kind of angled back like this, so that any water that does hit this kind of goes down and it's not able to flow directly into the V-berth. One of the options, or one of the suggestions that was made over on Patreon, was that I turn this door into so that it opens out rather than in. And I'm sure it could be done. It could be done. The door itself would only open so it'd still be sticking straight out this way. So I'm not quite sure how I feel about that one, because then that kind of locks this person, you know, in their in their timeout area. So I don't know what I think about that one. But again, this is the kind of the next step for figuring this out. So if you have some thoughts on this, please let me know down in the comments below. So with this part somewhat figured out, I think this is going to be a good place to end this video. Now, I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please hit that thumbs up button. If you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. I would love to have you on board. Questions, comments, you can leave those down below, and I'll do my best to get back with you. And as always, thank you for your time, and thanks for watching.
This has been a Boatworks Today production.